explaining for you today on the circle of fifths. Let's just jump right in. So those of you who have kind of watched through my video on major scales will know that we've kind of touched on the circle of fifths before. If you haven't watched that video, it might be a good idea to just sort of go back and have a look at that. But one thing that came out of that video is that keys can be very closely related to each other or very distantly related to each other based on the number of common tones between those keys. So we found that keys that are a fifth away from each other, a perfect fifth away from each other, are very closely related because those keys only differ from each other by one note. So I've got C major and G major here. C major and G major only differ by one note. They differ by this F and F sharp. C major has an F natural in it. G major has an F sharp in it. But the rest of the notes are the same, really. We've got a G in C major and G major. We've got an A in both keys, a B in both keys, a C in both keys, a D in both keys, an E in both keys. But then this F is different. F natural here, F sharp. And because most of the notes are common, we can say that those keys are very closely related. Similarly, between C major and F major, we can say that those keys are very closely related again because most of the notes, we've got, in fact, 6 of the notes are in common, and we've got one difference. B flat in F major, but B natural in C major. And what the circle of fifths does is it shows these relationships very, very, very clearly. So what the circle of fifths shows is how all these keys relate to each other. So I can tell, looking at the position of C major in relation to G major and F major, that those keys are really closely related because they are next to each other on the circle of fifths. So the circle of fifths is very useful for showing that relationship. It's also very useful for showing what notes each key has within that particular key. So it shows us that G major, if we look at this, the key signature here, shows us that G major has an F sharp in it. It shows us that D major has an F sharp and a C sharp. A major has an F sharp, a C sharp, and a G sharp. And generally speaking, as you go round the circle of fifths, if you go clockwise round the circle of fifths, you accumulate a sharp each time. So G major has an F sharp and has an F sharp. D major has an F sharp and a C sharp. A major has an F sharp, a C sharp, and a G sharp. E major has an F sharp, a C sharp, a G sharp, and a D sharp. B major has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. And F sharp major has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. We can go round anti-clockwise, and if we go anti-clockwise around the circle of fifths, we accumulate a flat each time. So F major has a B flat in it. B flat major has a B flat and an E flat. E flat major has a B flat, an E flat, and an A flat. A flat major has a B flat, an E flat, an A flat, and a D flat. D flat major has a B flat, an E flat, an A flat, a D flat, and a G flat. And then G flat major, which is the same as F sharp major, has a B flat, an E flat, an A flat, a D flat, a G flat, and a C flat. I should also just note C sharp major, which has an F sharp, a C sharp, a G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and a B sharp. That key does exist. It's very often written as D flat major because 7 sharps there is far harder to read than 5 flats. But that's the principle. As we go clockwise around the circle of fifths, we accumulate a sharp each time. And as we go anti-clockwise around the circle of fifths, we accumulate a flat each time. And we can remember this with a particular mnemonic. So the sentence that we use to remember this is Father Charles goes down and ends battle. And what that does is if we take the first letter of each word in that sentence, we get the sharps in our major keys. So start on C, that's no sharps, but then G major, we get the F sharp, father, F sharp and C sharp, father Charles, F sharp, C sharp and G sharp for A major, father Charles goes, and so on and so forth. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. And the great thing about this sentence is that it works forwards and backwards. And that's really handy because if we take the sentence and we work backwards through it, we actually get the order of the flats. So if we do battle ends and down goes Charles's father, we get the B flat for F major, the B flat and the E flat, battle ends for B flat major, the B flat, E flat and A flat for E flat major, battle ends and, the B flat, E flat, A flat and D flat for A flat major, battle ends and down, and so on and so forth. So just remembering that sentence, Father Charles goes down and ends battle for the sharps in the major keys, and the sentence but backwards, battle ends and down goes Charles's father for the flats in major keys. So sharps for the the sentence forwards for the sharps, so the sentence in red, and the sentence backwards, as in the sentence in blue here, for the flats. Cool. And that's like a nice sort of ready reference for the sharps and flats in major keys. But the circular fifths also shows the minor keys as well. This inner circle in green shows us the relative minor of each major key. And the relative minor is the minor key that is very closely related to each major key. I've got another video on minor keys, and again, in that video we talked about how major keys and minor keys relate to each other. If you haven't looked at that video yet, you should, and you're not sure about this concept, you should probably just re-watch that video just to kind of get to grips with how major keys and minor keys relate to each other. But it makes this relationship clear. We can see at a glance that C major and A minor are related to each other. So we'd expect C major and A minor to have the same key signature. We can see at a glance that G major and E minor are related to each other, and that they're likely to have the same, or not they're likely, they will have the same key signature. So that's just a quick refresher on key signatures and the circle of fifths. I hope that's useful. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.